city where you can sit at a turn light to go right. And the sign would say, do not turn on red. And the people behind you, instead of looking up to just maybe check, because, you know, we have those around here in Atlanta. They're not all that way, but you have some. Instead of looking up to check and see, well, maybe she's prohibited from turning on red. No, they will blow you away with their horn. And you know what I do? I turn my music up and I just keep an eye on them. Because, you know, they might want to get out and I might have to show them some peace. You understand? Like, these people are really a trip. I mean, they will blow the entire time. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm the type of person where blowing at me, oh, that's a good way to make me, you know, I don't know, kind of want to take my time. Listen, even if there wasn't a sign to say you cannot turn right on red, if that light is red, I have a right to sit there until it turns green. I mean, you have no idea. Maybe this was time for me to, like, switch my music up or send a text. I don't know. Or maybe I just need to sit for a minute. Maybe I'm just tired of pressing the gas pedal. Maybe I just want to sit, you know. But it's crazy. You cannot force somebody to turn right on a red unless you want to get out and physically force them to do so. And hey, good luck with that. But y'all, the Hannah Payne trial has started. I gotta get caught up. This is the end.
In 1 mile, turn left.
That was loud. This is the end of the semester. And I still got couple of more assignments and one more final to do. And I'm about to get on this trial because, I mean, first of all, I think we all on the same page about the defense attorney. Okay, he doesn't really have a defense, but what he was saying in his opening statement, she was attacking him. See, I know some of us are sitting here thinking, like, how is that even possible for her to say that when she was completely the aggressor? See, this would be hands down if it was the opposite. And I know a lot of times,
In a quarter of a mile, turn left.
people like to say, why you gotta bring up race? This doesn't involve race. This has nothing to do with race. Hannah even had her mother and her father, well, I'm not saying she told them to do it, but it was pertaining to her. Her mother and her father came out and gave a little speech. And they brought with them a black girl, a black man, and I think he was El Salvadorian. And this was her boyfriend.
Left.
Okay? And they came out and spoke on her behalf. See, these are some things that a lot of people who are not from Georgia don't know. And I'm pretty sure you guys saw when they spoke on her behalf. But let's talk about that for a second. These people said she's the sweetest thing. Okay? Sweetest thing I've ever known. She wouldn't hurt a fly. 21 years old, carrying around a gun. Because she needed. That's what her mom says. Because you just never know with people these days. How ironic. How ironic. Her mother also said she could not have done this. She did not know. She did not say that. Excuse me.
1 mile, turn left.
Okay, I'll do that. Her mother said she did not do this. It was not her fault. That's what her mother said. I just want y'all to listen to that for a second and tell me this don't have anything to do with race. When we all know what happened. Witnesses were there to know what happened. Now, I did see in the trial
Quarter of a mile, turn left.
when they showed the police video and, you know, we saw him die. Hannah was there on her phone with her pink hoodie on. And as soon as the officer came up, she casually handed him the gun. And I can't remember what it was he was asking her. I was actually getting ready to walk out the door. But back to the parents. They had a guy, he said he was her boyfriend of maybe 2 years. I mean, she had a nice Jeep, so she might be his sugar mama, because I look at him, I look at her, and I'm like, would he intentionally choose? Maybe. I don't know. They said she's sweet. Okay, but anywho, there was a girl and a guy, and they were black. And
left.
The way that they were hugged up, I would say that they were a couple. And the black girl said she was friends with Hannah. She's been friends with Hannah since, what, I don't know, 2nd grade, something like that. And Hannah is the bestest. Okay, she's the bestest in the world. All right. So as the reporter was asking her questions, she was fine answering it. And she was also fine saying that Hannah would never. Okay, she would never. She don't see race. She don't see color. But when he asked her, did she know Hannah had a gun? She said no. Well, I thought that was your bestie. I thought you knew her so very well, and this is why you got the mic. Right? But you didn't know she had a gun? That's impossible. Best girlfriends tell each other everything. If Hannah got a new lipstick, I'm pretty sure she told her bestie, right? If she had problems with her fake, I mean, her boyfriend, the guy saying it was a boyfriend, so, hey, I'm pretty sure she would tell her bestie. So, you mean to tell me she's not going to tell her bestie that she actually had a gun? I don't believe that, okay? We have no way of knowing what Hannah was thinking when she pulled up, right? We don't. Even if we knew her. If Hannah was somebody that you knew, no matter how well you knew that person, unless they was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and they do stuff like this all the time, or they're very unpredictable and liable, that they'll go off for no reason. I'm talking about ODB go off, just like shimmy shimmy y'all, just like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Not stable. And you saw that this happened, and you're looking at the news, and you're like, Hannah? Oh my God. And say you go out there to support her because you want her to be released, right? Because that's why they were out there. She finally got arrested. This is what y'all from Georgia don't know. Finally got arrested. Now, if the reporter asked you, do you think she's capable of something like this? Would you stand there and say, she did not? I understand. What did the black guy, the dark-skinned brother, he said something like, I understand she pulled her gun, but she didn't. And then he kind of fixed it because he knew what he was going to say. To me, he was going to say what her mama said. She didn't do this. But he was like, okay, I'm a little smarter than the mama. He said she didn't come with no malice. I know she didn't come with intentions to do him any harm. How would you say that? Because if you say that, the first thing a person is going to want to know is, how in the heck could you possibly have known it? Did she call you and tell you, I'm going to pull my gun on this cat, right? But, I don't mean to do him no harm. A gun being pulled on you means somebody definitely means you harm, first of all. So let's start there. It's not possible. See, only in white people land. And that's why that's not only why, but I'm just going to keep telling y'all why. But that is one of the reasons why it has to do with race. See, everything has to do with race. Every John Brown thing has to do with race, people. Okay, so stop with that. And the whole thing, don't see color. All right, you don't see color. You don't see color. It's impossible not to see color unless you're colorblind. And even some people who are colorblind can see something. It's just not actual color. They can see gray, black, maybe white, but not, the red, the yellow, and all that. But you see all that, right? But then you're going to turn around and say, I don't see color. That just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. You can't say what somebody won't do, especially nowadays, because they out here flipping switches on people, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. But you cannot, honestly, you can say, I didn't expect that from them. It's not of their character. I've never known of them, blah, blah, blah. You can talk that talk. But one thing we cannot do is, because, we're not the creator. You've had children. You may consider yourself their creator, but you was just a tool that was used. You didn't actually create them, just like you didn't create yourself. Let's be real. We're not what people like to call God. We don't create humans. All right. I would think only someone who actually created you, that's a lot of power and skill, would have the power and skill, if need be, to predict what someone is going to do. Okay, not even Santa. Okay, and that's sarcasm, because I don't believe in Santa. But people say he sees you when you're awake, he knows when you're sleeping, he knows when you've been bad or good. Okay, your creator that's watching over you knows. Already know. That's what they told us. That's what's written. Already know the choices you're going to make, but going to give you the opportunity to make them anyway. Okay, that's the story we've been told. I never saw there say anything that says that man on earth has the power to determine with 100% certainty what another man will or will not do. It's impossible. When your children was little, you had no idea how they was going to turn out. That's part of the journey, watching them. Even when you hear something that seems like it's out of their character, the first thing you're going to say to yourself is, I never thought that, I can't believe, I never thought that they would do something like that. Now, are you going to try and defend them by saying they would never do anything like that and put your life on it? Some parents might, but they know deep down inside they did wrong. Okay, so you can never, ever, 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 I don't care how good you know a person, say what they will or will not do. And if you knew anything, you would also know that you can't say that about yourself either. I know that I can't. I can't sit here, and I don't care how crazy it is. I can never sit here and tell you with 100% certainty that there is something that I would never do. So when I hear people say they would never do that, they would never do that, I'm like, do you really mean that? You believe that? Or is it just, you're just trying to help them? Is that, you're trying to help them? How could Hannah's mother and father...
Police reported ahead.
Oh, that's cool. And, her father was crying. He was crying. Now, why was he crying? What y'all don't understand is when Hannah shot Mr. Kenneth and he passed away, Hannah was not arrested. Hannah was allowed to go home. That's white privilege. That's white privilege. Because if the police would have even known that this was a black woman or black man on that scene, they would have showed up differently to start with. That policeman casually came on the scene, and she was casually standing there, and she casually handed him her gun. And this is them even knowing that there was a previous accident before. She was chasing him. She caused a crash. She T-boned the man. And then she was beating him, punching him. Get out the car. Get out the effing car. I'll shoot you. And she shot him. The cop still walked up just as smooth. And she handed it to him like it was her husband. And she was just passing. Here, hold my cigarettes for a minute while I finish this phone call. And she was not arrested. Okay. Outcry. is what eventually got her arrested. The police did not want to arrest her. They did not want to charge her either. They called it a citizen's arrest gone wrong. First of all, it doesn't even qualify as a citizen's arrest. That is, I don't know the official charges to give her on these things, but it is something like harassment, road rage, stalking, apprehension, illegal apprehension, threats, intimidation. Like, she literally was threatening this man's life. Now, after listening to some of the testimony and hearing that they could tell at the scene that something was off with the man, so he seemed like something maybe had been wrong with him, that's even more of a reason for her to let that man be. Not only, okay, we don't even need to argue about whether or not she should have felt okay to go and get this dude because he shouldn't be leaving a good scene of an accident and all that. Because I see some of y'all, it's just like, this shouldn't even need to be said. So if it's something I gotta stress to anyone, then you have at it. But why was this woman not scared for her life? Aren't all white women scared of, black men? Especially if you're going to confront them. First of all, when is it ever normal for a woman to seek confrontation with a man? It's not. Men are generally looked at as authority figures, especially when it comes to confrontation, because they have the physical authority over you. And we're not slow, we know this. So no woman in her right mind is going to actively seek out a confrontation with a man, especially one that is life-threatening, when you run into someone with your vehicle and approach them in a violent manner and pull out your gun and also tell them that you're going to shoot them if they don't do what you tell them to do. I mean, did this girl graduate the police force last night when she was sleeping? She woke up and actually thought that, it was her Ricky day and she needed to show out and be impressive. Like, somebody help me understand, because I watched last night. It was a cop show of some sort, and it was a lady on there. She was a black lady, and it was her and her husband, and they were talking about a time where her mind flipped, and she was in her car, and she was supposed to be returning home from something, and I can't remember what type of condition she said she had, but I know it's like, something mental, and I'm not sure what the particular situation was. It had something to do with her medication not going well or whatever, but she had some type of episode that she's never had before, to where her mind was just taken over, and it was telling her and making her behave like maybe she had PTSD. Like, she did, the reality that existed was different, and she was in some kind of danger. So this woman was like, I was panicking, and I just know I needed to get home, but I didn't know where home was. I didn't know how to get home. And this was all of a sudden, she didn't know how to get home. So she was driving erratically or something, and the police pulled her over. And when the police pulled her over, they actually showed the actual police car footage. The woman got her purse, and she ran to the police vehicle, and she got in the police vehicle, and they were chasing her, and she was driving all over the place. She said in her mind, she just kept thinking, I gotta get home, but she couldn't figure out how to get home. It was just weird what was happening to her. And she drove literally like all over the road, all over the place, and they were following behind her, and it became 1 cop, 2 cop, 3 cops following behind her. She didn't hear anything though. And she eventually got home. They actually, slow chased her. It was faster than the OJ chase, but they followed her home, and they actually did not charge her. She was lucky, but she was having a mental situation, and that was, from what I understand from the case, easily proven, but they gave her the opportunity to prove it. It don't sound like any of that was going on with Hannah, and you know why? Because the defense has not said